excellent.
Congratulations, you made it through 2024. I realize there's still a few days left to go, but I like to get the party started just a little bit early. So since we have a few days before the calendar flips over to January 1st, I want to take this opportunity to set ourselves up for success in 2025. So today, I'll share 5 key steps for you to take as you walk into the new year. But be sure to stick around for number 5 because, well, I believe that one is probably the most valuable. So welcome to the Mind Your Business podcast, the podcast for whatever business is on your mind. Let's get started.
Well, that's excellent.
Well, thank you for joining me for another episode of the Mind Your Business podcast. If this brings value to your life, will you do me a favor and like, subscribe, and share this with others? It would also be amazing if you would leave a review wherever you listen, because this helps us add as much value to as many people as possible. And quickly, before we dive in, I want to say thank you to everyone who's engaged with me through this podcast this year. We've published at least 2 episodes per month since we launched in March, and we currently have people listening across 28 countries. It's just been an incredible start, and I just want to personally say thank you to each of you that tune in for all of the podcasts each and every episode. So let's dive into today's episode. Research shows that around 40 to 50% of people typically make New Year's resolutions or New Year's plans. But not everyone creates these resolutions or the plans that they make in a structured way. So that means that around 50 to 60% either don't set resolutions at all or they fail to follow through with them. So some of you, you're already thinking, oh, you got me right from the start. Well, today, I'm not really talking about resolutions, so just take the pressure off of your shoulders. I'm just simply giving you 5 steps that you can take that I think will help you be more successful in 2025. So here's step 1. The first step that I want you to do to be successful in 2025 is to reflect. I want you to take time to reflect. Now, I can hear some of you now, I don't have time to look backwards, or I'm just ready to move on with it. I just want to get over it and I want to move on. But I really think that looking back is important for moving forward. See, reflecting is actually more about taking a step back to evaluate what went well and what didn't go so well. So it's not getting stuck in what was, but it's just an evaluation of what was good and maybe what needed a little bit of work. The ultimate goal here is to learn from both. So by just taking time to reflect on this year, you will already be ahead of next year because you can apply what you've learned. So you take a look at all of your mistakes and then you learn from those mistakes. You ask yourself just some simple questions like this. When you take a moment to reflect, just ask yourself, what was one thing that I'm super proud of from 2024? When you look back over the year and you go, man, I'm really proud that I accomplished that, or that I made that decision, or that I took a chance on doing this or doing that. Or you could ask yourself, what's one thing I wish I had done differently? So if you look at your past year and you go, man, I really wish if I had another opportunity, I would go back and I would do this just a little bit differently. And then ask yourself maybe a question like, what habits helped me? What habits did I have employed in my life that really helped me to be successful? And then also take time to reflect on what habits that you had in your life that hurt you or they held you back. They were a barrier from your success. See, reflection even makes your mistakes more valuable. Think about it. When you reflect to learn, they become valuable. You may have missed the lesson and the opportunity to grow from it had it not been for your time of reflection. So maybe you made that mistake and you couldn't wait to move on past it and you forgot to learn the lesson from it. Reflection gives you a moment to go back and learn. And I also want to mention that reflection will humble you. It'll make you grateful. It'll also make you wise, and it'll make you determined to do it all again. Reflection is really good for us. So take a moment to step back, assess this year. What was good? What was bad? What needs improvement? So you can learn some lessons and take it into this next year. Step 2 is to reassess. Step 2 is to reassess. So now that you've had time to reflect, take a deep breath and then look at where you are right now in key areas of your life. So you've had a moment to look back. Now let's take a moment to reassess where we are right now. So think about the key areas of your life, like your career, your relationships, your health, your finances, whatever it is that matters to you. And then ask yourself some questions as you assess where you are in your life right now. Maybe you could ask a question like, where am I winning at right now? Like, what is the area of my life that I'm really proud of, that I'm winning, I'm killing it, I'm making it happen? Or you could ask, where do I feel stuck or where do I feel frustrated? What's the area right now that is just draining the life out of me? And then you could ask a question like, are there any areas that maybe are getting neglected? They're not getting the time, they're not getting the energy that they need to get. See, this step helps you to pinpoint exactly what's working and what might need a little extra attention right now. So not necessarily just in the rearview mirror, but where you are in this moment. This clarity helps you to organize your growth for the next year. Think about it as an organizational way to get yourself prepared for growth. And so I would suggest making some what is called SMART goals based on the results of your assessment. SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Many of you have heard of this before. To give you a starting point, you can even break these into categories in your life that I think would be helpful. So some great categories that I think will help you as you are assessing where you are and setting some SMART goals, some things that are measurable, achievable, relevant, and then you put some time restrictions to it. So think about personal health. Ask yourself, where are you personally in your health? What about your professional health? How is your work life? How's your work-life balance? What's your stress levels? Are you being fulfilled? Do you find passion and purpose in your work? What about your financial health? Are you struggling financially? Do you have things out of order? Remember, it's not always about how much you make, but it's how you manage it, how you steward it, and what you do with it. What about your relational health? How are the most important relationships that are in your life? If you're sacrificing your relationships over finances or over your professional goals, maybe you need to reassess your relationships so that the most important things in your life can be healthy. And then all of these things, the stressors that it brings with it, impacts your physical health. So I would ask you, are you taking care of yourself physically? Are you stressed to the max? How is your eating? How is your diet and your exercise? You need to take care of yourself physically, even your mental health. Think about all of the areas of your life and assess how healthy are you. Remember, there is no shame in acknowledging areas where you don't quite get it right all of the time. There's no shame in acknowledging the areas where you didn't get it quite right this year. The goal isn't to feel bad when you assess. Many of us will skip assessment because we don't want to feel bad. It's just to take stock of where you are so that you know you can see greater success moving forward. If you know where you are, it's easier to know where you are going. You need a starting point. So take time to reassess. Step 3 is to reorganize. Reorganize. How organized or out of order is your life? You've walked into a building to enter a room, maybe a restroom in a gas station, and there's a big sign there. I've been in one, looked like a crime scene had taken place. Yellow caution tape, an X over the door that says out of order. Many of our lives, we're adding stress because everything is out of order. You need to take time to reorganize. I've been teaching my 8-year-old the importance of keeping his things clean and organized. When his room is clean, the whole environment feels better. But when it needs a deep clean and a reorganization from time to time, it just feels uncomfortable. It feels unsettled. And this is true for all of us as well. So the question is, what areas of your life need to be reorganized? Take a look at your schedule and ask yourself, does it reflect your priorities or is it filled with random tasks that drain all of your energy? What about your workday, your personal time, or your environments, or even your technology? That could use a little more organization, I'm sure. Take time to reorganize your life, clean out your workspace, organize your files, even delete apps or programs that are unused, that are more of a distraction or hindrance than they are of help. Just take time to reorganize all of the areas of your life so that you find health. Ask yourself this question: how can I streamline my routine to make more space for what matters? So when you're reorganizing some things, you can ask yourself, how can I streamline the routine that I have so that I've got more space to do the things that give me passion or that makes me feel purposeful? Is there anything that I can delegate? Can I outsource some things? Or can I let go of it completely? How can I organize my physical and digital spaces to create a more efficient workflow? Reorganizing is not about being perfect. It's about being intentional with where you are and where you spend your time and your energy. And when everything has a place, you'll feel lighter and you'll feel more focused on the things that are important because everything is in order. Step 4 is revise. Take some time for some revision in your life. So in this step, I'm talking about financial revisions. This is important because financial stress is one of the biggest stressors that we carry. So review your 2024 income and expenses and then make adjustments for 2025. You don't have to carry the same decisions and the same weights financially into this next year that you carried this year. The truth is, it doesn't matter how much you make this year if you don't know how to manage it. So before you start chasing the raise, before you start chasing the increase, it does not matter how much you make this year if you don't know how to manage it. So categorize your expenses into essentials. Sit down. It's called a budget, the dirty word, budget. Categorize your expenses into essentials like your housing, your utilities, your groceries, the things that have to take place. And then your non-essentials. That's the entertainment, the dining out, the subscriptions, all the things that we enjoy. And then set specific financial goals like build an emergency fund, pay down debt, or saving for a major purchase. I think it helps to assign deadlines to every one of these financial areas if you can. In other words, how much time do I give myself to pay down this specific debt, to get this thing cleared, to get this thing purchased? That way, it's not just hanging out there somewhere in 2025. Most of us are drowning in the unknowns. If you just put some time limits to it, put a timetable on it, it helps keep you accountable. Now, there's a ton of apps, there's tons of tools that you can use to help you do all of this. It really doesn't matter what you use, just make sure you have a system in place that will help you with your finances. And the last thing I'll mention here is to change your mindset. And I think this is incredibly important, to change your mindset. Most people think of financial revision or a budget as restrictive. We're just taking the fun out of life. But it's actually the opposite. It's empowering. It helps you make intentional decisions with your money. So don't work for your money. Make your money work for you. Make some financial revisions moving into this next year. And then finally, step number 5, reserve. And remember, I told you, if you're still here with me, congratulations. Thank you for hanging with me. Step number 5 is to reserve. Now, I mentioned this may be the very most important step of all of the steps we'll talk about today. Time is our most valuable commodity because unlike money or the other resources we have, time can't be replenished or earned back once you spent it. That's why I say I think this one is the most important of them all. Every day that we live offers the same 24 hours, but how we use these hours determine the outcomes of our life. So I want to encourage you to take extra time in planning your calendar for this next year. Remember during COVID, when we realized we didn't have to do all of the things, we didn't have to meet all of the demands, and many of us said this: we'll never go back to filling our calendar the way we did in 2019. We're going to live this 2020 calendar as much as we can for the rest of your life. See, this helps you steward this resource wisely by aligning your time with your priorities and with your goals if you take the time to plan and guard and reserve your calendar. So go ahead and schedule important dates and milestones now. Don't wait. Don't wait and see what happens. Get Sit down with your calendar, sit with your spouse if that's applicable, look at your family events, and begin scheduling important dates and the milestones of your life now. So think vacations. You're going to take a vacation this year. Think about your family functions. Think about personal days. Think about professional deadlines. All of these different important dates and milestones that you need to have on your calendar. Now, I already know what some of you are thinking. I wish I had time for vacation. I wish I had time for more family time. And what are personal days? Well, how does that even exist? How do people take those? But you'll never have any of that time if you aren't intentional with your schedule. You'll never have those moments by just thinking one day it'll happen. You have to be intentional with your moments. You can't recreate them. Planning creates a structure that helps you prevent wasted time. You can't create more time, but you can guard the time that you have so that it's not wasted. And that way, when you're not wasting your time, ultimately, you're not wasting those special moments. Listen to what I'm about to say because I think this could change your entire next year. Listen to me. Stewarding your time isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. It's maximizing the most of every moment. I want to say that again. Stewarding your time. It's not about doing more. It's not about finding more things to put on your to-do list. It's about doing what matters most. Maximize the most of every moment that you have. As the saying goes, you've heard this, you can't make more time, but you can make the most of it. So there you have it. I've given you 5 R words that will help you prepare for a successful 2025. I really do believe it can help you start your year off strong. Remember, growth doesn't happen in just one day. Growth is simply being a little better today than I was yesterday. The new year is a blank page, and the great thing is you get to write the story. So thanks for joining me for the Mind Your Business podcast. I'm excited to see all the amazing things that you'll accomplish in 2025. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a review, share this episode with friends who are ready to level up in the new year. I'll see you on the next one.